Good morning, everyone. My name is Elisa Udaskin, and I'm a career specialist in career services at JVS, Jewish Vocational Service, and we're located in East Orange and Montclair, New Jersey. JVS was founded in 1939, and our motto at JVS has always been helping people help themselves, which means we help people get jobs and get back on their feet. Our job seekers programs are fully funded by Jewish Federation of Greater MetroWest and by Project M, and we thank them both so much for their support. Today and this morning, we have such a treat for you guys. I'm very excited to welcome our guest speaker, Jeff Young, the LinkedIn guru. Jeff is a former director and account manager with Intellinex, an e-learning venture of Ernst & Young. He has helped manage and mentor thousands of people in many different organizations. Since his retirement from OCLC, where he worked as an enterprise project manager, Jeff has been volunteering for and helping manage several local nonprofit organizations. Jeff's focus has been devoting his time to being a professional networker, LinkedIn guru, and teaching networking and LinkedIn skills and best practices. Wow. And this morning, we have the pleasure of having Jeff here sharing all his wisdom about LinkedIn, and we can ask our experts. So I'd like to turn it over to Jeff.
Okay, thank you so much, Lisa, for that introduction. Namaste, everyone. I am Jeff Young. As you can see, the hashtag, the LinkedIn Guru. That's actually what my network calls me. I'm not trying to put on airs by calling myself a guru. My network actually calls me a guru. The cool thing about guru is that if you look guru up in the dictionary, you see the word teacher. And that is exactly what I've been doing for the last 16 years, is teaching LinkedIn. So, and by the way, the reason for the teacher bit is kind of why I have the last son of Krypton behind me here, the boy in blue, okay? Because I also sometimes introduce myself by saying, hi, I'm Jeff Young, I'm a teacher. What's your superpower? Okay, so anyway, I know now that I've awakened all the ladies in the crowd by undressing in front of everyone, I don't want to do that for the rest of the day. What I do want to do is provide you with a lot of value, okay? And to that end, okay, I am actually going to drop something in the chat right now that is quite a few links that Elisa will make sure that she gets to you in the future so that you can have all these links, because I'm also the kind of teacher that understands the fact that if I give you a fish, I feed you for a day. If I teach you to fish, I feed you for the rest of your life. So I'm going to put a set of extended links out there. Give me just a second until I get my, there they are. I'll hit that, and there they are in the chat. So hopefully you can save the chat and get to those later, or Lisa will give them to you as well. So now, we have about an hour and a half or so, and and by the way, here's a quick disclaimer. If you think I'm going to tell you everything you need to know about LinkedIn in an hour and a half, it's just not possible. Sorry. Even I don't talk that fast. I do talk fast, as you may notice as we go through this process. But slow me down if you need me to slow down, and make sure I show you what you need to see as many times as you need to see it in order to get it. Okay. So we're going to start off with, and I'm going to start with something that, you know, one of the things that I've found over the 16 years that I've been teaching LinkedIn is that LinkedIn loves to hide stuff. So I'm going to show you something that I think is there. It used to be there for free. It may be there for premium now. I don't know. I would ask Elisa to look at her screen, her jobs tab, to see if she sees it. But it's something called Resume Builder. Has anyone ever heard of Resume Builder on LinkedIn?
No.
Okay, at least I see a couple of hands that say yes. Can you get access to it now when you look at your jobs tab? Because it disappeared. Okay, well, I'm gonna allow you to get access to it again. Okay, and here's how. It's interesting to me that all of this, that LinkedIn works, and the way it works and the way it works best is on a browser. Okay, and the cool thing about browsers, now you should be seeing my screen. Okay, the cool thing about browsers is that if you're using browsers, you should be able to set some links as bookmarks. So what I'm going to show you is something that, well, let me show you that it disappeared. First of all, if you go to the jobs tab, and we may spend a little bit more time on the jobs tab here today, but if you go to the jobs tab, there used to be something called Resume Builder that was an option right here over on the left. Well, it's not there anymore. Now I'm going to show you how you find it. Then I'm going to show you how you might want to use it, because I think it's a nice, powerful little tool, and it's all free. Okay, and I love the word free. Once you get to know me, you'll know that I love the word free. So I've got the link. So what I will do is I will bring it up, and then I will also share it with you again in the chat. This is Resume Builder. Okay, and there is the link. So that's the link that I'm going to copy, drop into the chat for everyone. There. All right, now what LinkedIn Resume Builder allowed me to do is, and this is totally separate than your actual other resume that you might have as a Word document or whatever, okay? LinkedIn allows me to take my profile and build a resume from. That's this button, Create from Profile. Okay? And again, if you didn't know this was there, you'd never find it, because you need the link in order to access it now. Okay, so use that link, bring this up, create a resume from your profile, which is what I did back here on May 22nd. Okay, and once you've done that, now watch what you can do with this resume that you've got from your profile. If I open that up, okay, the coolest part about this is that even for free, I don't have to have a premium account, even for free, I get what's called Resume Insights. And what I can do is I can do a keyword check for a particular desired job type. So my background is somewhat human resources. So I'm checking my LinkedIn, if you will, profile resume built, okay, against something called Human Resource Manager. And what it says, that what LinkedIn will do for you is that it will say that if you're looking for a job title like Human Resources Manager, you will actually, found in my resume are these keywords: recruiting, performance management, business administration, training and development, onboarding, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So it makes a match to the title that I'm looking for, and then tells me how many of those it already found in my profile. As you can see, there's my profile. Okay. Now, once it does that, then it also suggests other keywords that I might consider adding to my profile that would be for that title as well, so that it goes after that. Does that sound like a useful tool to you folks? Okay, because again, you can figure out what the keywords are that you already got, plus some other suggested keywords. And believe me, keywords are an extremely important thing on LinkedIn, especially on your LinkedIn profile. Now, let me show you how it works though, in terms of, so I used to be a project manager, but my profile now is very, very focused on training and development and human resources, et cetera. Watch what happens if I change this title from Human Resource Manager to Project Manager. Again, I used to be a project manager in a former life. So there's Project Manager, and now apply it. Look what it says. It says I only found a couple, not nearly as many as it found for the human resource stuff. And it also suggests some more as well. So now you can play with those different titles and come up with possible suggested keywords, and also determine whether or not your profile is fitting the keywords that are important to LinkedIn. Make sense? Okay. All right, so now I'm going to change that back to Human Resource Manager, because I want to leave it that way. And you have to spell it right. Human Resource Manager. There we go. Apply. And again, back now, I've got plenty of keywords that it already found. Okay. Okay. So now let's go back to any questions so far? Well, you can download this as a PDF.
Right.
And then you know, I'm not suggesting you use this as a replacement for your resume. Okay. I'm just using this to say that use LinkedIn's capability to generate a resume, and then see how that resume matches up to those particular titles and keywords. Okay.
That's excellent.
Okay. So, but by the way, that's a feature that some folks might not know exists. Anytime you wanted to, and you want to get a look at your profile in terms of what your profile looks like offline. Okay, it's not everything, but there is under the More button. Malka and I talk about this all the time. There is a actual save to PDF here as well, where you can actually save your profile as a PDF and then take a look at it on offline. Okay.
Next.
Okay. Go away. What's not clicking? There we go. Okay. All right. So let's go back to the well, okay. While we're on the subject of your profile and keywords and those kind of things, here's another little trick that I want to share with you folks. That is a way of making sure that you are using the right keywords and you're using the right keywords enough times on your profile. Okay. Before I go there, let me say that in order for you to get found, well, there's an old joke, right? What are the three most important things in real estate? Location, location, location. Okay. Well, what are the three most things that are important on your LinkedIn profile? Keywords, keywords, keywords. Okay. And the point being is that what I'm going to tell you is where they're important, where they're more important than any place else. Then I'm going to show you a little trick that again is a browser trick that you can use to challenge yourself and find how many times you're actually using a particular keyword on, okay, your profile. So now, where are the keywords important? The keywords are extremely important here. That is something called your professional headline. Okay, you get 220 characters here. Okay, so 220 characters are important here because this follows you wherever you are on LinkedIn, a certain portion of it anyway. It kind of truncates it a little bit. So you have to, yeah, you might want to consider front loading some of the most important information here. But here's a place where I can put keywords like LinkedIn trainer and LinkedIn training and professional network and volunteering. Okay, all those the keywords that I really want to be found for. This is the most important thing. You've got to decide what keywords you are most important on your profile in order for you to be found for them. And in most instances, what I'm going to show you in some of these instances as well is that what I want to make sure you do is that you use LinkedIn's keywords, and LinkedIn's keywords has a database of what they call market value titles. This is extremely important. Keep that in mind, market value titles, because the more of those market value titles that you use, the higher you are in market value as far as LinkedIn is concerned. Okay. So using those market value titles and keywords in your headline is important. Second place they're important is anywhere in your about section. Okay, your about section should have the right keywords because that's another place that gets scanned when someone's searching. The about section is a lot bigger because this is a summary of what you can say about yourself. And that summary is actually 2,600 characters as opposed to 220. So that's much better, much easier for you to go find it. Okay. Third place that is extremely important is in your experience section. If you're updating or you're adding an experience, you should also make sure that you put the right keywords in here. Notice as you look down through my experience section, you're going to see many keywords that are going to be repeated. LinkedIn training, LinkedIn trainer, LinkedIn tips. LinkedIn training, LinkedIn trainer, LinkedIn tips. LinkedIn trainer, LinkedIn training, LinkedIn trips. Okay. And they're almost always in the same order. Okay. So that's important that I keep those keywords in there. Okay? And I use them that way. And the way I make sure that I'm using what I call the market value title, okay, so that everybody understands what a market value title is and how important it is that when I add a position or when I'm updating a position, when I go out here, I need to put in a title that is a LinkedIn, not the word LinkedIn, but is a LinkedIn, okay, title such as LinkedIn trainer or etc. Okay, or LinkedIn training, etc.
So Jeff,
yes.
I was just wondering, maybe you can use an example. No, keep that open. Keep that open. I was going to play with you on this one.
No, that's fine.
So if you put in marketer, just put in marketer and let's see if anything shows up for marketer.
That's the right, yeah, so there's
Okay,
marketer,
no, okay,
there's
say
internet
marketer, marketer fabulous. I don't know.
Okay, so that, thank you for that distinction, because the marketer, obviously, it shows up in the pull down, right?
Yeah,
That means that when it shows up in the pull down, it is a market value title. But marketer fabulous,
I'm really not creative this morning. Yes.
but it's not gonna find it. Okay,
Right. It's not going to find it. So,
exactly.
and then may I just add one more thing while you're on this screen is another thing that I talk to clients about is, and I don't, the market value title should be the same, but also when you're entering your company name, do your best to see if the company has a page because you want to be linked to that. So if you just put in craft, Kraft,
Oh, KRAFT, yeah.
yeah, Kraft.
Yeah. It should
Okay,
find, yep, it
so
should find several different versions of Kraft Foods, et cetera, right?
correct. And so you don't want to just write in craft and then be done with it. You want to
Right.
be able to choose one that's connected to that page because that helps with your visibility. Thank you, Jeff. I just wanted to, while you were on there, to illustrate those things.
And again, play with these. Now, by the way, if you're putting in some of your previous history, I'm not telling you to not put in chief cook and bottle washer if that's what you were, okay? But the point being is, what I am telling you is to put in a market title if you can. It's so much better if you put in a market value title if you can. And that's why it's important for you to, as you go through this process, put in a word and see what pops up. Because you could actually even use multiples of these, okay, if you want to basically call it something that is similar to what you did, but not exactly the same title. But you want to use LinkedIn's titles if at all possible. Because look at what project brings up: project manager, project specialist, project manager, project management office, project development manager, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, goes on and on and on. So using one of those or multiples of those is still so much better. Okay. Now, Lynn, I see you've got a hand up.
I sure do. I've been having discussions about market value titles with Kevin Turner.
Yep.
And I am in the ball court of having embellished job titles. So putting your real job title and then embellishing with keywords. And I said, well, what if somebody called you a chief happiness officer,
Right.
which is maybe the equivalent of CHRO.
Yeah.
But he says, well, then you should change it to CHRO because that's what's in the, in the database. And I'm like,
right.
Well, you can't change your title if that's what the company gave you. That's like not being true to yourself. And the market value titles, that's only for people who have LinkedIn Recruiter and LinkedIn Recruiter Lite, but there's so much else that goes on, in the way of Boolean searches. So I still really tend to using the embellished job titles. I have a client that got found one night. All he did was change his headline and an embellished job title. He got a phone call 3 days later from somebody searching for 2 keywords, and they were in the embellished job titles. So I don't know. What are your thoughts? Like, why the market value title?
Well, the market value titles really raise you up so much higher in the search results themselves. Here's an illustration. I mean, why is this important? This is important because of the fact that, look at it this way. Here again, okay? Not too long ago, okay, and this shows up in the analytics, okay? Not too long ago, I took these titles and I added what I thought I needed to have out there every single time. And again, this is only the third place. We've got more things to talk about as you go down through here as well, because the fourth place that you need to add these kind of market value titles is in a place called skills. Okay, and having them in your skills section is also extremely important as well. But what I did recently was I made sure that those titles were here. Remember, okay, LinkedIn training, LinkedIn trainer. Okay, I made sure that they're in my about section if I want them there. I made sure that they're in here in each of these experience sections so that they match up the market value titles. And down in my skills section, I managed to add where I went too far. Sorry, here we go. I managed to add LinkedIn training, and as a third one, I added LinkedIn tips. All three of those are market value titles. Now, what was the result of my doing that? Okay, let me show you what those results were, because this is where the rubber really meets the road. You've got to know how the system works, not to play the system, not to game the system, but to utilize the system in the proper way for you to be found and make sure that LinkedIn knows your activity. So let's look at what we're talking about here. Here's what ended up happening, okay? Now, it's gone down a little bit because this has been over a month since I did it. But before I made those changes, my analytics of profile views over the last 90 days was 900. It went up to 1,150, and now it's back down a little bit, but it went from 900 to 1,150. What kind of a percentage change is that over 90 days? Okay, that's many more views that people are seeing my profile every single day, and that's what you exactly want. But the real key about how that worked for me was this number of search appearances went from 400 to over 900. It more than doubled. And that, again, is exactly what you want to see, because that is an important thing that you should be watching in terms of how often you're showing up in a search appearance and why you are showing up. Because if you click this, it'll actually show you that here's the titles that are happening so that you're getting found. Look at that. Gosh, what better title than trainer could I ever hope for, right? But it also shows you who's looking at you, which might give you another target company as a possibility. Okay, and also shows some of the job titles of the people who are looking at you as well. So yeah, if I'm a trainer and I'm getting looked at by corporate trainers, that's a good thing. Okay, that's exactly what I'm talking about. But that's all where that really made the most huge difference, is in terms of those numbers going up like that, and they stayed that way for over a month. Now they've started down a little bit, but again, LinkedIn rewards activity. I'll have to figure out what the next thing is that I'll need to do to my profile to bring those numbers back up. Okay, now we're still talking about keywords. Okay, so I said this in terms of the rest of these again. Let me review your headline. Put those keywords, put those market value titles in your headline. Put those market value titles in your about section. Put those market value titles in your experience titles, and text, because there's text that goes along with each of the titles as well. And then finally, inside of your skills section. Now, here is one of the things that you can do to help yourself get found more than anything else, is putting the right skills, targeted skills, on your profile so that you get the ones that you want. And again, when you add a skill here, adding something that is a market value title like LinkedIn training, see? LinkedIn training, and then also there's LinkedIn talent insights, but the one I wanted was LinkedIn training. So I added LinkedIn training, etc. Okay, and I added those skills, okay, here, so that then what I could do is I could take those skills and I could move them around such that I could put the ones that I wanted to make sure were highlighted up at the top. Did you folks know that you could reorder your skills? Okay, good. You probably listened to me in the past. That's good. Okay, but most people don't know that you can reorder your skills to bring those priority skills up to the top. So I recommend you at least doing the first 3 to 5. And the way you reorder your skills is you do this little button right here, the magic 3 dots. That's what I call the magic 3 dots. And then you click reorder. And when you click reorder, again, LinkedIn loves to hide stuff. You never even know you can reorder skills unless you looked it up. And there they are: LinkedIn training, LinkedIn tips are the top 3 skills that are there. Okay. Now, here's more. But wait, there's more. Okay. I know I'm talking about Ron Popeil all the time when I do that kind of stuff. But I want you to understand that when you're doing one of these skills, and when you're adding one of these skills, there are more things that you can do other than prioritizing, other than adding the right ones. Okay. And that is, as you add that skill, as you put through this skill, for LinkedIn, make some relationships to that skill. tell LinkedIn what experiences on your LinkedIn profile that you used that skill. Where does the skill apply? It applies here, 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 not here, but here. Okay, check boxes. They're easily done. All you do is make as many of those relationships as you can, and that's just your experience section. You can relate your skills to your education. So if it's related to a particular education, put that skill. You know, my LinkedIn training is not related to what I did at Leadership Dump, but my LinkedIn training is related to what I've got as far as my education is concerned about here. What I've got my special stuff in my education section. You can add it to. You can put relationships out there to volunteer work that you've done just by putting the check boxes. You can do it. You can relate the skill to publications if you want. You can even relate the skill to honors and awards that you've got listed on your profile. It's all that easy by just doing the checkbox. Okay. Now, Lisa, you have your hand up.
Oh, hi there. Just a quick thing. What's the you have the hashtag before the LinkedIn Guru, for example. What's the is there any benefit with the hashtag?
There is a benefit. The reason I use the LinkedIn Guru hashtag is that when folks go out to Google and they actually type in my hashtag, they end up finding my stuff everywhere, not just LinkedIn, but on YouTube, but on etc. Right? So literally,
but that's if you have stuff. Like if we don't have it, then don't put it in, right?
Well, no, if you're not using a hashtag, but you have.
Well,
to
that's what I'm trying to
hashtag.
understand. Like,
yeah, that's why I came up with a hashtag that it's called a branded hashtag. That's my brand. I'm the LinkedIn Guru, and when that happens, then when you go out here, you will see all my different images. You'll see all the stuff that I've done as far as videos is concerned, etc.
So if you're like a content producer.
And it's much more of a broader perspective SEO, but it's also, by the way, something that folks can follow on me as well. If you go to one of my posts, if you look at my most recent post, for example, I also use the LinkedIn Guru and a couple of other hashtags on there as well. And if you actually click on the LinkedIn Guru, click on somebody's hashtag, it'll bring up the content that is related to that, and it will also then allow you to follow as well.
Yeah. So Jeff, if you don't mind, I just wanted to interject for a moment. So for everybody who's joined us today, I realize people are coming in with different levels of understanding and how much you use LinkedIn. And what I've asked Jeff to do today is to answer a few of the questions that I pre-selected in terms of like new features or things that people wouldn't have seen before, didn't know about. But with that said, if you are brand new to LinkedIn, I invite you to email me, eudaskin@jbsnj.org, and I'll put together a little group or a big group or a medium group and take it offline to go through the top to the bottom of fundamentals. So thank you, Malka, for pointing that out to me. So for this, we're going to learn a lot about LinkedIn, but the fundamentals, how to set up your page, just email me and I'll set something up separate for you. Okay.
That's a really good idea because everybody was a beginner at some point in time. And 100%. Oh, by the way, that's why my profile is out here in the first place. Literally, folks, if you go to my profile, if you want to use this as a learning tool, please do so. That's why I'm here, to help people learn LinkedIn. So if you go to my profile and scroll down as an example to my featured section, you can actually click on this button and go to my newsletters. And my newsletters are all about being effective on LinkedIn. And one of those in particular is related to what Elisa just talked about in terms of going through the process. And even if you're a beginner or you've been here for a while, one of the ones that I would want to point out to you is something that, if you scroll down a little ways in here, something that I did as a newsletter called Be Effective by the Numbers. And what that really is giving you is a little bit of a roadmap that says, do this first, do this second, do this third, do this fourth, do this fifth, etc. Okay. So it's there for, I cater to all levels of people and people who want to get extremely involved in LinkedIn, or people who are just starting out on LinkedIn as well.
Right.
Now Meanwhile, back at the ranch, okay, that's okay.
Sorry for the commercial break.
That's perfectly fine. I'm actually lucky today, in my mindset that I'm actually remembering to go back to this because I talked about keywords, remember? Right? So we talked about keywords in all the different 4 sections, your headline, your about section, your experience section, your skills, okay? I also promised to show you a browser trick that will allow you to actually check your own profile to see how many times a particular keyword is used, okay? So now, that is done this way, okay? And again, I'm going to go through this slowly, but you need to make sure you can follow along with this. What I want you to do is go to your own profile, not now, but when you do this, go to your own profile, click public profile and URL. Now, what you're going to see is this is a slightly different. If you look at the way this looks here, okay, and you look at the way this looks here, you're going to see that it's slightly different. One of the keys to this is that this is actually, again, utilizing the browser for what it's good for, because what this has actually done is showing me now my public profile, which expands all the section. Remember when you went and looked at my about before, it only had 4 lines? Well, now my about section is expanded. And each of the things that is underneath each of my experiences is expanded as well. Okay, so that's how this starts. Edit public profile, okay? Again, back where that was is from your profile. I'm trying to get back. Oh, it actually did create it. Yeah, from here, click this, and that will open this up. Now, here's the browser trick, okay? If you're on a PC and using a browser, and it should work no matter what browser you're using, Safari or etc. Okay, well, not exactly Safari, but let me. If you're on a PC, if you do, hold down the Control key, the CTRL key, the Control key, and press F. What that will do is open up a little box up here at the top. See this little box? It opens up a box that is called Find on the Page. Now, if you're on a Mac, that's a Command F. But what I'm going to be able to do now that I've opened up this little box is I'm going to be able to search this entire page for specific keywords. So for example, how many times do I have the word LinkedIn trainer on my profile? Can you see this? 27 times. It even highlights the first one. I can actually even move up and down and show where it's shown. See, there it is in my about section. There it is in my headline. Okay, 27 times. Now, the key to this being important is that what that means is if someone out on LinkedIn is searching for a LinkedIn trainer, they will find me above someone who has LinkedIn trainer on their profile 26 times, but slightly below someone who has LinkedIn trainer on their profile 28 times. The number of times you're using a keyword is important, and just as important, because the more times you have the keyword, the more times you show up higher in the results. And you can use this for any of the keywords that you want. I also found that LinkedIn training was very key to me as well. So I put LinkedIn training in there as well, and it's on there 26 times.
So Jeff, I want to comment on that because when people are writing resumes or doing LinkedIn, and when you're used to writing things, our inclination is we don't want to repeat it. We want to open a thesaurus and come up with different ways to say things and things like that. Well, what Jeff is teaching us is that that's not how the computer works. That's not how the algorithms work. And so it's not about repeating like the word, led a team, led this, led that. It's not that. It's selecting what is that job you're looking for, or the reason, what it is you want to be known for. A marketer, marketing, whatever, then you want to make sure that word is repeated. And it's a bit counterintuitive for how we all sort of looked at writing previously, right?
Yeah. Yeah, don't just put it in a list of 5 times, right?
Yeah.
That would be ridiculous because it would look stupid, but make sure that it's sprinkled throughout, just like mine is. LinkedIn training there in my headline, LinkedIn training there in my about section. LinkedIn training again is going to be in every single one of my titles. Remember, I mentioned those because it matched a market value title. So I wanted to put that one in there as well. Okay.
Yeah.
And again, this is why this is extremely important, because as you can see, it's there. Yeah, it's repeated, but it's repeated for each different listing of it. Okay. Which is how it's really the best way to write it, because that way it becomes a valuable, useful market value type. Okay. So anybody got any questions about how I did this, how I found this? Okay. How I got to this? Because what I want to show you also, again,
Yes.
I tell you to do these things. I'm not just telling you to do these things because I think they're great. Okay. I'm telling you to do these things because I did them and they worked. Okay. And that's what I wanted to show you as an example. So for example, I've got an actual saved search out here that is looking for LinkedIn trainer in Columbus, Ohio. 2 of us. When someone searches for a LinkedIn trainer in Columbus, Ohio, I'm one of 2 people that they find. Okay, that's why it's important. You want to be in that first page. You want to have those keywords that get you up to that first page. Now, by the way, that same thing applies in terms of that saved search that I've got also. That is for LinkedIn training in Columbus, Ohio. It's not quite as good because I'm not up at the top of this list. I am at the top of the second page. Yeah, okay. Okay, and this changes over time. As of a couple of days ago, I was right up here. Okay, so again, I've got to keep my activity up. I've got to keep doing this in order to keep me up at the top and in the hit list with a bullet, if you will. Okay.
I just wanted to just also interject for a second because I'm looking at the chat. So as everybody knows, we have a lot of people on here, and so for any questions about technical, I can't press Control to Alt this or whatever, things like that, I invite you to stay on at the end at 11:30 to 12. Jeff has graciously agreed to, is going to be with us as well as me to help with any of those types of technical things. The questions we want to ask are going to be probably a little bit more global about functionalities and features that will benefit for the whole group. But I invite you to stay on, and I will help you with everything about browsers, all that kind of fun stuff. Okay. Okay, thank you. Jeff, I just want to make sure when you go to the next topic, I am dying to know about this new verify feature when you're done with the keywords.
Okay, no, I was done with this one. Okay, so we can talk about verify.
Thank you.
All right, so verify is actually something that LinkedIn has added, I don't know, maybe 4 to 6 months ago. And verify is actually helping LinkedIn a great deal. And it's, I think, a good thing because it will verify that you are a real person on LinkedIn. One of the challenges that LinkedIn has had over the last few years is that LinkedIn has grown to about 1 billion people. And statistically, from what I'm hearing, about 10% of those billion people are fake people. Yep, as many as 100 million people are fake people out there. So LinkedIn has added the verification feature so that people can self-verify and go through the process of verifying themselves so that they come up as a real person. Now, I know Elisa hasn't done it yet. I don't know whether anyone else on the call has done it yet, but I have done it. Okay. And there are various and sundry ways of doing it, but the easiest way for me to show you how to find out more about it is, again, point you to my profile. Okay. If you go to someone's profile and right next to their name, you see this little shield. It says Jeff has verifications. So find someone who's got it, me, if you want, because you can always come back to my profile. Okay. Click on that. It'll open up this about this profile. And what this will then do is show you how members can verify their information. And there are multiple ways of doing so. I verified mine through a service called Clear, which, by the way, is a TSA service, the airline kinds of services. So it's a reputable service. Don't worry about what I verified mine with was I gave them a picture of mine, and I verified against my driver's license, my government ID, my Ohio driver's license. Okay. but there are other ways of verifying. So the other ways of verifying you will find if you actually click on learn how to do this, and that takes you to this. As a matter of fact, I'll put that in the chat as well, because that's an easy thing to share, because it's a link again. And
So Jeff, while you're sharing that, this makes me a little bit nervous about security, putting in any information. I'm sure a lot of people have that question.
Yep.
Can you please address that? And how do, because, and then one of the reasons I didn't hit verify yet until I consulted you, or I haven't done it yet, but is it real? Is this a scam? You know, would you mind sort of talking to us a little bit
Right.
about that?
Well, and I did research this before I went after it and did it. Okay.
Yeah.
And again, Clear, you don't even have to have a Clear account in order to actually do this, because Clear is just a third party. In my case, when I'm using my government ID, my driver's license, Clear is a third party. So first of all, they are a reputable firm that can protect the data. Okay. Secondly, LinkedIn will never see the data. So you're not giving your driver's license number or anything like that to LinkedIn. Okay, you're just you're giving it to Clear so that Clear can use it to match up to you and verify you. Okay, so that's the process. So again, this is such a big problem as far as fake accounts is concerned, that this is one of the really best ways for people to actually make sure that they show up as a, and again, it shows up front and center right next to your name. Okay, so you can verify with workplace, you can verify with educational institution. And it's different depending on what country you're in as well. Please don't be concerned about the fact that you're giving them sensitive information. They're not going to ask you for your social security number, but there are ways of actually verifying with a passport and those kinds of things as well. But all of these have been vetted through LinkedIn, and again, I think anyone that is knowledgeable about LinkedIn will tell you the same thing that I'm telling you, is that it's worthwhile, and it's probably a good idea to eventually do it. It is, by the way, LinkedIn's not trying to force everybody to do this. They're just offering it, okay, and telling people that it's a pretty good idea. Does that make sense?
Yes, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So I do want to entertain one person's question first before we go back to like our other things, because I promised Joe, who has to leave in a few minutes. Joe, did you still want to ask your question?
Yes, I do. I have two really quick questions.
Go for it.
Okay, number one is I happen to be a veteran, and about a decade ago, I got an upgraded account from LinkedIn because they gave veterans a free year.
Right.
Do you know if that and I'd like to go back to do that again. Do you know if they'll do that again? Do you know?
I don't know whether you can do it a second time.
Okay.
I do
Okay,
know.
That's a good enough answer for me.
I do know that I actually have a link for that, but or at least I did. There it is. So this link, okay, and it's, by the way, it was for veterans and spouses, and et cetera. So all you had to do is prove you're a veteran, and you can get a free year of LinkedIn premium. That is, okay.
I thought that was a fantastic benefit. And
It
the
was
second,
a really nice benefit, and I've pointed people at it many times. Yes, Joe, that's a good one. So I'm gonna put that one in case there are any veterans in the audience. Okay.
And the second item I wanted to talk about is that I used to routinely receive messages from LinkedIn about people in my network who got promoted, got new jobs, and all that kind of stuff. And I used to send every one of them a note congratulating them on the change and all that kind of stuff. And I would also update them on me. I now have an MBA. I now have multiple certifications. And that activity has actually landed me jobs in the past.
Yeah.
And I don't get those notifications anymore. They've disappeared. And I don't know why.
LinkedIn stopped doing those notifications, but there is still a link that you can go to check for this stuff on a daily basis. And I'm going to give you that link right now, because I do the very same thing. As you notice here, what this pops up is birthdays. And as you can see, I've sent people birthday wishes just to keep in touch, okay, etc. So literally, It's really, you don't have to use the birthdays one. I'll give you the one that's here. I'll put this in there as well. It is a separate link. And again, LinkedIn's a process of continuously changing this stuff, but it still should work. And if I've got the chat open here, this link, and then I'll show you what. Okay, so use that link that I just put in there. Okay. And what that will do is it will bring up the fact that in your network, okay, if there have been any, there would be people who changed their jobs. Okay. Then there's birthdays, and then there's work anniversaries.
Okay, so that changes it from being something automated to me having to manually do a task. That's
Yeah,
okay.
unfortunately. Well, and the only other thing that I can tell you, Joe, is that one of the things you might have done is you might have turned off accidentally the notifications for those kinds of things.
No, I didn't do that, but
Okay.
that's a good point.
Well, and sometimes, the interesting thing is that be very careful. I realize I would have that same reaction. I would go, well, no, I never do that, right? But unfortunately, LinkedIn brings up these little messages every once in a while that just says, do you want to continue to see these? Okay. And if you end up saying no to something like that, you might have turned off something you didn't mean to turn off.
Yeah.
Because LinkedIn.
So that happened to me. So, so Joe, excellent questions that really pertain to most people. So I also was wondering why I wasn't seeing things anymore. And when I went in my settings, I realized I didn't even know there was this celebrations thing. And then I turned them on. So exactly what Jeff said, like, I don't know when that happened. Exact same thing happened to me. So then after speaking to Jeff, then I turned them back on. And if I may, there's one more point I want to talk about this topic, which is that when I work with clients and talk about you want to be try to keep yourself top of mind with your LinkedIn network. Not everybody is comfortable with posting and things like that. So this is such low-hanging fruit and an easy way to stay top of mind with your network, guys. Work anniversaries, birthdays, things like that. So you go in, you just set you either go in and you check on your own once a week, let's say, or you set it up in your settings that you see people's, their celebrations. It is such an easy way to stay top of mind when you're not feeling comfortable doing a lot of posting.
Absolutely.
That follow-up works. It's amazing how well it works. I received one of those notes from somebody I worked with 35 years ago.
Yep.
And I'm like, this name sounds familiar. I sent her the note and I said, I don't know if you remember me. And she said, 10 minutes later after I sent her the note, she said to me, Joe, nobody forgets you. And 3 weeks later, I was working.
Yeah.
Just from that note.
It never ceases to amaze me when I'll put out something that is just a birthday reminder and say hi and say happy birthday, that, honestly, at least half the time, 5 times out of 10, somebody will come back with, thank you for that. They thank you for being thoughtful, first of all. But the other half of the time is they come back and say, you know what? I was just thinking about you the other day, and I've got something that I thought you might be interested in, right? Just because you reached out to them. So it's perfect for that.
So Jeff, I was wondering, we have this just over half an hour. Do you want to share any of the things that you and I talked about? Or I do have a lot of people who want to start asking questions. So maybe I have 2 topics.
Well, let me share at least one thing, okay, that I think is important in terms of again, go to my profile. Please, on my profile, it won't look like this because this is in edit mode for me. If you go to my profile, you should see a follow button. Once you click the follow button, you should see a bell up here, and click that bell. Okay. Now, if you are connected to someone, you're automatically following. So I wanted to bring that up in terms of, like, Elisa, I asked you before if I could bring your profile up because I turned something off for you this morning that I want to turn back on. Okay. And that is the bell. Bell is a notification that LinkedIn uses that says, look, I want to know when this person posts something. I want to know when this person is active. Okay. And so that's what I'm doing here. When we go here, we are first degree connections. Okay, under more, it's always going to say following. Okay, because if you're a first degree connection, you're automatically following. But you can follow someone without being connected with them. But when you click the follow button, then what will show up here is the possibility of a bell. And this bell is a fairly new feature that they've changed around a little bit. So it might even behoove you, if you've already clicked someone's bell, turn someone's bell on, to go back and double check it, because now you get always, sometimes, never, in essence, as far as options is concerned. I want to see all of the notifications. I want to see a notification about every single time that Elisa posts something. Say all, click save, boom. You will receive all notifications about Elisa, etc. Okay? That's a real quick feature that allows you to follow someone on LinkedIn and keep track of what they've got going on. And that one's an easy one. You can do that to anybody. You can turn on, you can ring anybody's bell you want.
Excellent. So before we get into the questions, I think there are just a couple that are very universal questions. People want to know, do I need to pay for LinkedIn Premium? And then the second question is the open to work. Many people here are in job transition looking for work. You know, should I put the open to work thingy majiggy on my picture or not?
Okay. All right. So let's talk about premium versus free. Okay. To begin with, I've been a free person for a long time. I've also tried premium for a short time. And I honestly tell people, especially if you've got any kind of financial woes of any sort, okay, I would rather you'd spend the $40 a month on buying people coffee than paying it to LinkedIn. Okay. Now, part of the reason is that most people think that, oh, if I turn premium, if I pay LinkedIn, I'll get higher in their search results. And I'm sorry, folks, but that's caca. Okay, it just doesn't happen. All you've done is pay for LinkedIn, and you get more of what you already got for free. So my opinion has always been, find out what you can do for free. Make sure you can utilize what you can do for free, because I do a lot of things, and I probably get more hits than you do, and I probably get more search results than you do. But I do those by not paying for LinkedIn. I do it by knowing how the system works. And honestly, I got to tell you that 95% of the people that I've seen out there haven't even scratched the surface of what you can do for free, first of all, much less what you could do if you had a premium account. And I don't mean to be nasty, but I got to ask this question: how will paying for LinkedIn make you any better at it? Okay, you're just giving them money so that you get a couple of features, and that's not what you're after. Now, having said all that, if LinkedIn offers you a free month or a free 2 months, take it. Okay, absolutely take it. Because if LinkedIn offers you a free month, go for it, and then actually utilize it for that amount of time, so that you can actually utilize all the features that are there and not have to worry about it being for free, okay, for at least that month. Now, the thing is, okay, two things. If you offer for a free month up, okay, do me two favors. First of all, I think the technical term is beat the bejesus out of it. Okay, beat it up, really pound on it, really utilize it extremely hard for that first month. Okay. Second thing that I want you to promise me to do is that if you don't really want them to charge your credit card at the end of that month, do this. I don't care what it takes. Put Post-it notes on your refrigerator, put neon signs on your garage. I don't care what it takes, but tell yourself to cancel this sucker before LinkedIn actually charges you for it. Because in my experience, over the amount of that time, okay, LinkedIn, there's two words that LinkedIn cannot define: prorate and refund. Okay, so it's worth trying from a premium standpoint.
And then the second question, thank you, is the whole open to work thing.
Yes. Now the whole open to work thing is I can only illustrate it by going back to my profile again, okay? Because this is how it starts. Open to work allows you to tell recruiters, show recruiters that you're open to work. It actually is they're duplicating things here, and I think they're in the process of changing things. It's actually here twice. To start this off, you could either click here or you could click open to finding a new job. Either one of these will start the process. Now, when you are in the job search, this is extremely important. So I would highly recommend that you turn it on. I would highly recommend that you do show recruiters that you're open to work. And when you tell it to get started with that, what that will allow you to do is add some job titles, add some location types of whether it's on-site, hybrid, et cetera, whether or not you can add up to, I think, 5 different locations here, as well as where you're looking, okay, what you want to do. Be as definitive as you can here, okay? And you can, if you want to, tell recruiters and only recruiters that you're open to work. That's this button. Turn it on and tell recruiters only. The other, what's the word I'm looking for? Controversy here is the green badge, open to work. Now, this is strictly a personal preference, but you can do one or the other, okay, recruiters only or all LinkedIn members. Now, the thing is that if I am actually in a job search and I am not already employed, because that's why the recruiters only is there. If I'm still employed, you should then use recruiters only. But if I'm not employed and I am actively looking for a job, okay, it's extremely important that you actually, I think, turn this on so that anyone who comes to your profile sees that you are open to work. And I do this for a couple of reasons. Everybody know who Wayne Gretzky was? Famous hockey player, okay?
Hello, I'm Canadian, but yes, keep going.
One Wayne
Yes.
Gretzky's famous quotes was, I missed 100% of the shots I never took. Okay.
And how about don't go where the puck is, don't go where the puck is, but where you see it going. Keep going.
Yeah, exactly. You know, do something, because there's nothing, people really, I don't know why. This is just so weird to me. People get this thing about, I don't want to tell people I'm out of work. Well, the more people you tell when you're out of work, the better chance you've got of finding work. Okay, so please don't get caught up in that. Again, it's a personal preference, but turn it on if you want all LinkedIn members to see it, because there is a possibility of someone coming to you and finding you and helping you if you turn it on. Now, a couple of other statistics. You know, I research this stuff. This is my livelihood. Well, not livelihood, but it's my life. Okay. And I research this stuff. And let me tell you how important these two things are. If you turn recruiters only, open to work, if you turn open to work on, people who turn it on are getting 40% more messages through LinkedIn than people who don't have it. 40%. Okay. People who turn on the badge, the open to work badge, in addition to having the open to work setting on, get another 20% more messages through LinkedIn. So again, it's there. The statistics prove that doing it is a good thing. So please think about doing it as a good thing.
Yeah, and so Jeff, I think that this is so important. It's so important, and for most people, well, everybody who's joining us here, you either have a job and you're not happy and you're looking for a job, or you're underemployed, or you're looking for a job. And I can't reiterate enough what Jeff said is, how are people supposed to know if you don't tell them that you're looking for a job? We realize of course it's uncomfortable, but you want to get a job. I will take it one step further. I did take it one step further. When I was looking to change careers, I guess this was a year and a half ago, I literally made a video, a very short video of myself articulating exactly what I was looking for. And I posted it with some comments of exactly what I was looking for. I have never received so many on-point connections of people just sending me a message who I hadn't heard from in ages. Elisa, you should speak to this person. You should speak to that person. I ended up with such great leads. Why? Because I was very specific. And when I say specific, I still gave a range in that specificity. And I put myself out there. And so many people came to me and said, you know what? I need to put myself out there as well. So from this whole LinkedIn thing, you got to let people know that you're looking for a job.
Yep. And the more
Right.
focused you can be and the more
Right.
specific you can be, just like you said, Elisa, the more you can tell people exactly what it is you're looking for, the better they will be able to help you find it. Okay. That's absolutely true. Now,
Exactly.
there's one more thing about this that is related to this, but not exactly the same as open to work. So are we done with open to work? And I can go on. I'll show you the next thing. Okay.
Yes.
All right. The next thing is that there is a possibility if you wanted to tell a specific, by the way, everybody out here on this call, I hope if you've been in a job search more than 10 minutes, you have actually generated a target list of companies. Okay. Because that's one of the most important things that you do. Well, if you've got particular companies that you want to go to and identify and tell them that you are interested in working for them, you can do that separately from open to work on LinkedIn. I'm betting nobody knows about this one. This one is so hidden and you just never see it unless you go to specific companies, okay? So let's say, for example, I'd like to work for Microsoft. If I go to the Microsoft page on LinkedIn, I'm going to bring up two different illustrations of this because it shows up in two different places. So go to the company page on LinkedIn. Okay. Wait for it to finish here. Okay. And then what I want you to do is to look at two places under the About section. Okay. We'll see if it's here on the About section. There it is on the About section for Microsoft. It's this button that says, are you interested in working with us in the future? Privately share your profile with their recruiters. You'll be noted as expressing interest for up to a year. And all you got to do is click I'm interested. Everybody got that one? Now, remember, I went to Microsoft and About. It's not the same place on every company, and it won't be there on every company either. But the two places for you to look for it are in the About section, or I'm going to bring up another company. I'm going to look at their page. Just depends on who it is, okay? I'll bring up this company, and again, if I look at the About section, I'm not going to see the interested in this one as soon as it finishes painting. There we go. So About, blah, 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 blah. Oh, no interested button. Well, it doesn't mean it's not there. What you also have to look at is under the Life tab. So it's one of these two places, About, okay, or Life. And under the Life tab, you should then also see, there it is again, I'm interested. So it's one of those two places. And you're not going to see this unless the company itself has actually turned it on, okay, on LinkedIn. But that's really a nice feature that allows you to go out there and say, hey, target company, I'm interested in working for you. Again, being top of mind, being something that allows you to go grab their attention. That's what you really need to do in many, many, many instances.
Okay, thank you, Jeff. Are we ready to take questions? I have a list. I've been keeping a list of people.
Yep, please do.
Okay, so everybody I try my best to, I'm going to say the names in order as I saw them. If I miss someone, just message me in the chat. So first, so I have Drew, then Andrew Miller, Jonathan, Levy, Bill, William, Rebecca, and Steve. So we'll get through as many as we can, guys. And then remember, we're going to end at 11:30 just to be respectful of everyone's time, but I'm going to stay on with Jeff for another 30 minutes. Okay. So Drew, do you still have your question or was it covered already? Okay. So if Drew wants to come back with this question, that's fine. Andrew Miller, do you still have your question?
It's true. I'm sorry.
Oh.
I'm on a treadmill right now, so it's a little difficult to ask the question.
Okay, then we'll go to Bill.
Hey,
Yeah, hi, Jeff.
Hi.
oh, there's two bills. Sorry.
Did you mean me?
Bill
Sorry.
Amco, and then William Dahlia.
Okay, thanks, Elisa. Jeff, I had 5,100 connections on LinkedIn, and I posted a picture of me with a positive COVID test and a smile last year. And 3 days later, my profile was taken down. I thought it was going to be coming back. I got a lawyer on it, but it's been taken down permanently. And I've tried 3 different times to reinstate it, but apparently they're able to determine that it's me somehow or another, even though I used another phone number, another email, and everything else. Any suggestions or recommendations on that, or do I just leave LinkedIn to the billion other people who are on it?
Well, there is one thing I can give you, and that is a way that even if you're not on LinkedIn, you can open up a case with LinkedIn and you can ask for their support, et cetera. This has been a long time, and I can't believe that they haven't talked to you. I don't know what your particular situation is, but I know that people do get taken down sometimes by accident because because LinkedIn uses artificial intelligence actually to determine whether or not you're a bot sometimes or something along those lines. I mean, you told me that you put up something that was you saying you had COVID, and that's the reason they took you down. Did they actually tell you that?
I opened up a case with them as well in 2 days, had responded 3 times to the quote unquote case number, never got any response back at any level. And I had a picture of me smiling with COVID saying, hey, I took me 3 years, but I finally got it. My symptoms are mild. My sympathies for other people who had things that were worse than I did or who lost relatives. My sincere sympathies. But apparently I either provoked some individuals to make commentary. That was one of the feedback that I got from a third party, or the AI bot said something that I don't know what it could have said because it was a picture of me that looked, facial recognition, just like my profile picture. So it's just been kind of one of those head scratchers for over a year now.
Wow, I'm really sorry to hear that happen to you. I know people get blocked off for not, for bad reasons. I was actually in LinkedIn jail myself for a short period of time, but I was able to go through the process of proving who I was. They thought I wasn't a real person, et cetera, and I was able to, prove I was a real person. The only thing I can offer, I think, Bill, is I'm gonna put it in the chat right now, is that there is a link that will work no matter whether you have a LinkedIn account or not. So if you use a browser and go to this link, you should be able to open a case that will look somewhat similar to, hang on, I'm trying to get back to it. Okay, should look somewhat similar to this, and be able to contact LinkedIn support, add any attachments you want, and give them at least a heads up as to what's been happening, and try it again.
Okay.
The only other alternative would be, I mean, if it's been a year, I'm surprised you haven't just kind of backed up 15 yards, punted, and started a new profile, and just.
I did like I said, I tried 3 times doing that in 3-month intervals, and I haven't, didn't work either. Yeah, I haven't since like January. That's the last time I tried.
Okay.
So anyway, I got your link. I will check that out. Appreciate your input. Thank you.
I hope we can get it fixed. Persistence does ultimately pay off, because it paid off for me. But again, being able to actually talk, ultimately what you want to have happen is you ultimately want to actually end up talking to a real person. Ask for that a lot, okay? Because if they
Understood. Okay.
If they treat you as a real person, you might have a better chance of actually getting something done. Okay. Because there is no help number, there is no 800 number that LinkedIn has to call or anything.
Yeah, excellent. Okay, thank you. Okay, so it's William, then Rebecca, then Steve, then Jennifer, then Carrie, then Rick. So William, did you want to ask your question? Dahlia? Sorry.
Yes.
I have two questions, but let me go quick on this first one. I have the opposite problem. For some reason, there's a second profile under my name that's been open. I don't understand what happened or how this occurred, because I get notices in my email saying, "Oh, would you like to connect? You should connect to this person, that person." And I'm saying I already connected to these people, but I sent out the notice to connect, the request to connect, and then I realized then someone called to my attention there was a second profile. Is this a scam that somehow someone set up a clone of my profile of some sort?
Possibly, but there is a process for this as well that will actually help you to get rid of the duplicate account. Okay. And and it depends on, this is unfortunately one of those things that, yeah, it does happen sometimes, but it's one of those things that it depends on what you can do to both of the accounts. A lot of times, the way that happens, William, is that someone will actually have a work-based email account that they were working on, and then they got downsized from the their work location, and that work email disappeared, and they don't have access to that work email anymore. So they've created themselves a personal account. Okay. So one of the things I recommend is that people keep at least a personal email on your account at all times. But this, again, this link that I'm going to put into the chat is a link that will help you go through the process of merging or closing duplicate accounts.
Okay. All right. The second question I have is really to benefit everyone here. Should I send a post out to all my connections just saying I'm open and available for work? Is that tacky? Is that a good tactic? I don't know.
No, it's back to what Elisa said before. Okay.
Do it.
You can either DM them. Okay. You can direct message them one at a time if you wanted to. Okay. Or you could actually put a post out there on. By the way, the only way that you're going to be sure, well, even a direct message is not absolutely certain that every single person is going to see your message. But posting it out there doesn't necessarily send it to every single person that you've got connections with on LinkedIn. But it does put it out there on your profile so that you know. I mean,
okay.
One of the so yeah, I mean, covering both of those bases wouldn't hurt. So letting people know, again, in Elisa's case, letting people know that you're out of work, but not just that, letting people know that you're out of work and this is what I'm looking for. Okay, is most important. So I would recommend that you do that. And as a matter of fact, for a while, if you wanted to make that what I just talked about right there, hang on, I'm trying to get LinkedIn to bring up the homepage here again. Okay, so
Jeff, you know what? You can use, if you open my profile and look at what I featured, I think I might have featured that video that I just talked about.
Oh, got it. Okay.
But if not, then we won't look at it. So let's just look at mine for a second. I can't get out right second.
Okay. Well, no, I'll look at yours. Okay.
Okay.
And I can illustrate the same thing I was going to illustrate.
Exactly. The featured, please.
Illustrate on his. What I would have said, what I would say is that, you know what, you need to say something about that perhaps in your about section. Okay. Because the point about telling people you're out of work here is this it?
That's it. How embarrassing that I'm showing you guys. No, it's not embarrassing. See, that's the point. I have to get over myself and tell you all I was looking for a job.
Yeah, which by the way, here's something that again is an interesting thing on LinkedIn that you could utilize to help people see what it is that you really want them to see. And it's not necessarily something that everybody uses. It's called a featured section. Okay. So featuring a video, featuring something else featuring the fact that you wrote a book. Yeah, we talked about this earlier, Elisa, be a mensch. Okay. I mean, I would not have known that you wrote a book unless I went here. Well, I might have, because it's up here too, but that's a great thing to feature, is something like that in your feature.
So we don't have to watch the video, but can you just click on the post, please? Because I want to show people, because we just talked about, here's an example and you guys could reference it. Okay.
Yep, there it is.
This is when everybody was hashtagging the, what's the hashtag again? Open to work in the beginning of that. And
Yeah.
so I did the video, but see how I was very specific? I was asking for connections in a specific industry or area. And, you know, you don't need to have the video if you don't want, but I was just very, very specific.
Now, the key to this is that if she had not done this, she would not have gotten those 39 comments and she would not have gotten those 7 reposts. That's for sure.
And tons of direct messages I got as well.
Yeah, and I can believe that because a lot of people will respond to it here, but a lot of other people will go, "Oh, I know Elisa. Maybe I can help her," and actually just send you a direct message. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. No, that's perfect. And again, what I was talking about is really someplace that, again, from William's standpoint, if you want to, at least for a little while, you know, there's 2,600 characters here. So if you want to start out with, I'm a member of the Open to Work Club, you know, here as well in your about section, tell people what it is that you want them to know, and tell people what it is you want help with. You know, you'll never, again, you will never be sorry that you asked instead of didn't ask the question.
Yeah. Okay, Andrew, I see that you're back. Did you want to ask your question, Andrew Miller?
Yep. And just going off of that, what are your thoughts on creating a position, an actual position in your experience for listing the job title and then the business is open to work? So it's like kind of like a placeholder, if you will. I've heard that LinkedIn likes to have current positions, if you will.
Yes. And that's, I tell people this, I don't know if they changed it. As I said, Andrew, LinkedIn's always constantly changing stuff. But one of the criteria, and as a matter of fact, it's in that newsletter that I did that talked about it from the standpoint of LinkedIn by the numbers. Okay? And it's really one of the things that if you are unemployed right now, okay, one of the things that I tell people to do is if you want to, for a while in your experience section, you can keep your previous employer because that still looks like a current job, right? However, at some point in time, it's going to look like you're shading you're shading to the wrong side of things here, because if you've got an employer that you've not been at anymore for 3 months, okay, now it's becoming a little bit deceptive. And it says you've got a current position with them, but you don't. So what I recommend in many, many instances, Andrew, is I recommend people put out a current job that uses a current company that literally, I think Open to Work even comes up with a logo now, okay? I think there's actually a company out there that you can associate yourself with, Open to Work, with a logo, and you can create that as a current job. But what would be really, really important to doing it that way is then you could describe the job that you're really looking for in that current job and tell that story. Don't make it like, I'm already doing this. Do something that says right up front, this is what I want to do, okay? Not what I'm already doing. You got to be clear with people so that you're not deceiving them and leading them down the wrong way. So telling your story and then telling the story of what you want to be when you grow up and what you would appreciate help with in that first position would be great. Now look, and I talk to people about this all the time. This is really kind of interesting because I've been retired for 16 years. Okay. I've been retired for 16 years, but I've got 4 current positions. Okay. So I probably have more current positions than you do. Okay. Because I've got a current position that is working with the LinkedIn Guru, which is a company I created on LinkedIn. It's not a real company, but it's real to me. Okay. And I've been doing it for, as I said, 16 years. And over those 16 years, I've done 1,000 seminars and I've done, and had 20,000 different students. Okay. By the way, the second one is that, I've got also ways of utilizing media on LinkedIn, because if anyone who wants to see some of the things that I've done from a previous training standpoint, and Elisa, I would appreciate if it's possible and I can share the YouTube link for the video that we're doing here today. I would love to put that YouTube link right here. Okay. I'm sorry.
No, sorry. I keep putting myself on mute because there's outside noise. Yes, of course, please. Yes.
Okay. Because that's exactly what I want people to see. I want them, I actually would be right here. Okay, because I want it to be one of the, one of there's, as you can see, there's, 73 plus here, there's another 2 here. Okay, I'm gonna keep adding it to them because that's all a part of what I do. And every single one of those is an opportunity for, if you wanted to, you could go out here and you can click on one of these and watch the full half hour or that full hour if you want to, right from my profile, if you want to. And again, in addition to that, from a current job standpoint, I also volunteer for, guess who? Jewish Family Services. Wow. And Malcolm and I have done like 80 seminars together now. Okay. So maybe I'll get to do another 79 with Elisa too. I don't know. I hope so.
I would love that. So I think we're just going to take one more question and then we'll end the recording and then we'll continue as I shared with everyone. So Rebecca, did you want to ask your question?
Yeah, thank you both for doing this. I'm currently employed, or I guess I should say underemployed, and I'm looking, how do I tell, is there a way on LinkedIn to keep my current employer from seeing any updates I make to my profile?
Not to your profile as such. You do have a current employer. You were around when we were talking about open to work before, right?
Yes.
Okay. So yes, you can be open to work, but make sure that it's only recruiters only. Because even if it's recruiters only, LinkedIn will do the best that it can to make sure the recruiters for your current company don't see that you're open to work. Okay. However, your LinkedIn profile is a publicly available, worldwide, 24/7, 365 website that anybody can visit and anybody can see. So any other kind of change that you make to your profile elsewhere would be possible to be seen by anybody. Okay.
Yeah, and that is a conundrum that everybody faces when you're doing that. So you just have to be very thoughtful about what you're posting. You can do a lot more direct messages if you want to connect with people. And I would encourage you, again, you want to be top of mind for people. So you may not be saying, I'm miserable at my job or I'm looking for a job, but you can be a thought leader. You can post to stay top of mind. And then if you see people as commenting, you can send them a direct message. Like there's workarounds. The key is when you're looking for a position, whether you have one or not, is you want to be top of mind.
Well, and I think that's a good point, Elisa. I think that in terms of making sure that other people know that you are interested in other things, that the direct method is probably the best, and offline is probably the best as well. I mean, offline in terms of off of your profile.
Not posted. Yeah.
Because if I'm, there are people, and again, this depends on how comfortable you are with this. There are a lot of people, and I'm not necessarily a fan of this term, but I will use it because most people understand what I'm talking about when I talk about side hustle. Okay. And I'm not really a fan of that term, but it's just another direction that they're going, that they would also like to if it's a passion of theirs. Okay. Well, I'm actually seeing people who are employed with a particular employer still put that side hustle kind of stuff on their profile. Now, if you're really concerned, if the employer would be concerned about it, I'd ask them. I actually ask them, can I put something that would be a side job, okay, on my profile, and see if they've got a problem with that. Because after all, this is your profile. You should be able to do what you want to with it. But again, it depends on how open to showing what it is that you want to show that you are.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks. Thank you. So we are going to wrap up this section of our presentation. So I want to first and foremost thank Jeff Young, the LinkedIn guru. This was absolutely phenomenal. So I want to thank you very much. I also want to thank our sponsors who make this program possible and available at no charge to everyone. So Project M and the Jewish Federation of Greater MetroWest in New Jersey. And I want to let you all know that the next webinar is going to be on Thursday, June 20th, same time, 10 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. Eastern time. And it is going to be about a topic that we haven't really talked about of everything to know about job references. So that's going to be pretty cool. I'll start sending out the emails on Monday. So I want to say thank you. Thank you to everyone for joining us.